think we'd met once before in person, and then we went off to do our first gig in Camden, which
What?
is yeah, which is a bit
What?
kind of random, isn't
What
it?
did...
Get radio breakfast with Rich Smith.
Band Week continues here, shining a light on all the amazing musicians across the county. And this one, cards on the table here. This one, I'm quite looking forward to because it is a band that I genuinely really, really love. I love all bands, of course I do, but this one, I really, really like them. We're catching up with Andy from the Subtheory. Morning, Andy.
Morning, Rich. Morning. That's very, very kind of you to say that.
I mean, what I know about music is absolutely nothing, so it shouldn't be nothing to you. But there you go, mate. It should be a nice compliment. It should
you give and then you take away.
Of course I do. Of course. Look, what I'm kind of trying to do with this week's this year's band week and what have you is kind of basically transport you back to the beginning, transport everyone back to right at the beginning, and kind of go, hey, where have all these bands come from? And it's been super interesting finding out sort of different stories, chatting to Barricane yesterday and finding out amazing things about there, and kind of going back to the start. So I want to sort of introduce you and the band to a whole new set of people, early morning people, we like to call them.
Early morning.
Yeah.
The very brave.
The very brave, especially people getting back from Brixton at 2 in the morning
Well,
as well. So just kind of take us way back when. Take us to the days just before Subtheory, before it started, the embryonic stage.
So I think crikey, how far do you want to go back? So I first started as a probably the world's worst rapper, maybe just behind Vanilla Ice, if people remember that. I don't know, I wasn't very good at all, but I thought I was brilliant. But I didn't know any musicians, or I didn't know anyone who could make music, so I started to make my own because I didn't have any choice. It wasn't like the days of stuff on YouTube didn't exist then, so couldn't find any instrumentals, so I started making my own. So that's kind of how I got into making music, sort of production wise. In terms of how kind of the Subtheory came about, so actually, funny enough, that song, "The Weekend," really reminds me because that's a big lockdown song for everybody. That everyone was doing the sort of funny little dances and stuff and trying to keep themselves amused. I was kind of busy writing loads of music, so just because as part of what I do as well, so I write music for like TV, radio, podcasts, you name it, sort of do that. So I'm always kind of writing music, and I had a whole bunch of stuff that kind of I started to write that was really drawing on like influences from me from the 90s. So things like Portishead, Massive Attack are two of my favorite bands. I have to always, because sometimes I walk around with a Portishead t-shirt and it's a bit too obvious. So
that's good. Yeah, just keep that hidden. Just keep the t-shirt hidden. Let the music speak for itself. Yeah.
Exactly. But so and I was thinking, there's really something in this. This is really like authentic. What I want to make. And so somebody put me in touch with Kate. Kate was looking to kind of finish off some production of her own sort of solo stuff, which was quite like folky. Yeah. If that's not it's not sort of an area of music I'm too familiar with, but that's how I describe it. She'll probably go, no, it's not that at all. But anyway, and actually, I thought it was really brilliant. I thought, I don't really need to do anything to this. You should just release it. By the way, I have a whole bunch of stuff that I think that would really suit your voice. Are you interested in writing? She's like, yeah, send it over. And it was almost kind of instantaneous. She's like, I sent something. She said, I've got an idea. Give me 10, 15 minutes. Send like a rough idea back. I'm like, oh, wow. And this kept going. I was like, hold on, this is really working really well. So we sort of said, should we, do some of this live? Work on some stuff. And she's like, yeah. So we started doing that. And in fact, I think we'd met once before in person, and then we went off to do our first gig in Camden, which is a bit kind of random, isn't it?
This is exactly why I asked this question, because all these things that have come up from various bands that we're speaking to this week, and there we go. Well, yeah, we sort of met once. We chatted on the phone, exchanging voice notes, and then just go and perform in Camden like you do.
Yeah, and it seemed to go kind of really well, and seemed to kind of there be a really nice vibe to it, and people sort of seemed to dig it. So I was like, let's do this. So we were doing loads of stuff. We were recording, releasing a few things, and then gradually we sort of expanded it. So we sort of nabbed George from the Jerichos. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that, making a bass player, but he came in and played bass, which is good because that added something extra. I always never wanted to be the sort of band where it's just like one guy with a laptop and like a singer, because that seems a bit, I don't know, doesn't seem like a proper sort of live thing. Not very good live experience, I don't think.
Yeah.
So we added a bass player, and then we played a gig, as a charity gig, and Pat kind of came on board. He was like hanging around going, I really like your stuff. Can I join? Basically. So we're like, yeah. So he's a fantastic like lead guitarist. As witnessed by, so we do a couple of covers. We do Glory Box. And he absolutely nails it perfectly, exactly like the original. Really good. So
it's interesting that the band is quite fluid in that respect, and you've kind of recognised that fact, because the whole sort of music industry, dance music leaning, it is very, if you're stood there with a laptop, even when you're DJing like I do, and you're stood there with a laptop, there is that preconception of that, what you're doing. You literally just checking emails or something, and it's like there's still that thing, and you kind of recognise that, and it is still true. Even lots of people, the complexities of what comes out of the laptop, we won't go into this morning because it'll bore everyone to tears, but I'm quite interested in it. But actually, that's all producing the music. It's all sounding. That's what you're doing at home. You're working on the computer, and the great thing is that now you can lift that computer up, bring it to a massive stage, and it can sound and look beautiful. But the fact of the matter is that you're literally behind a little screen, and that's it. You have to have that theatrics. You have to have that, that reason to be on stage. Is that? I don't know if that's the right word or something.
And I think it's a little bit about communication. So I always think, and I think the temptation is to go big with everything, right? So you sort of think of pyrotechnics and massive visuals and people kind of acting crazy on stage and filling it with like numerous musicians and stuff. And I always think that's one way to go. But also, what you're trying to do ultimately is get across some sort of human connection, we write songs that are very deep emotionally. Every song has kind of a big part of ourselves in it, and it's basically speaking to the human sort of condition, the human soul. So to me, I don't think you have to necessarily go big for that. You can focus in and actually make it like almost a moment of stillness in times. And there's times when, and I get kind of goosebumps when Kate's really nailing it on some of the bigger songs, and the hairs kind of go up at the back of my neck, and I go, oh, I know exactly where this is coming from, because we've been through the process of writing, recording, etc., and I know which part of the Kate's soul she's exposing, and sometimes it really lands, and it's really like almost nothing's happening except a little bit of music in her voice, and that for me is like, oh, that's how it should be for me.
It's amazing, and what I sort of love, and I'm kind of like I'm like the boy at the window of the shop of music, and I'm kind of looking in, because that's what you do, and I'm kind of looking in going, oh, look at that, that's amazing, that's so cool, and you're absolutely right, and I love how deep and how powerful music is, and you're kind of, when you're living and breathing and doing that with a track that you've created, that you've put your heart and soul into, and you say that you in that moment it's just you and the voice and all of that's an incredible story. It's just jealousy. That's all it is. It's just jealousy. That's all I got. Andy, tell us a little.
I was going to say, I don't think there's any such thing as a bystander in this, by the way. I think everybody has a part. Everybody has a part in it. Because ultimately, if people like you weren't playing music, well, we'd be shouting into an empty room, right? So.
It is true. It is true. Well, yeah, that's true. I'm glad to be there. Tell us a little bit more, because we're sort of in the sort of middle end of the summer, which I know is sort of quite a nice sort of period for musicians and what have you, because they can kind of get out from their laptop, or in your case not, and kind of go out and about and kind of see things. Subtheory, what have we got that's been awesome the last few months, and also coming up as well?
So so obviously we've come off the back of sort of playing loads of shows over the summer. We've kind of taken a bit of a pause from that for a little while because we've got the inspiration to kind of write some more stuff. So we obviously released our album this time last year, so it's just over a year old now, which has been really, really phenomenal. And we're looking like the next kind of chapter because that was sort of the kind of not the closing, but it's like that's that particular part of the act. Now we're moving on to the next, like act two, if you like. And I'm really excited about it because there's some really kind of, it gives us a chance to push the envelope a little bit. So I love the first album we did. I think there's points where I look back now and go, I think we could have pushed that a little harder. We could have done this, we could have done that. So that's already triggering like the next progression. So, and I think the track I sort of sent you it's a kind of a bit of a window into, oh, this is where we're going with it. It's
Well, yeah, that does lead us nicely into it, and thank you very much for sending this across. Just tell us a little bit more about it, and kind of where this is coming from, and kind of compare it to the last time. The Shark Tank was amazing, and where things are going. What can we expect from Act 2 of the Subtheory?
So I think the first album could be best described as being quite inwardly looking. So it's looking in ourselves. This is kind of it's opening at the lens out and looking at like what's going on in the world, and it's really quite an angry album, or will be quite an angry album as it's shaping up at the moment. It's the whole kind of thing is based around like the myth of the lie. It's kind of like what you're being told is not the truth. What you're being told is you're being manipulated, and it's not kind of angry at the people being manipulated. It's angry at the manipulators. So it's people, and this is not you included. People in like the media, people on social media, people in power, kind of shaping a narrative designed to make everybody angry and be in a constant state of, and maybe we're feeding into that a little bit by reacting and being angry, but it's things like you just turn on TV or look on social media to see that it seems like the world's in flames. Yeah. And this is a look. This is like saying almost what I don't want to do is just do a whole thing that's just angry, us shouting, because nobody needs that. It's got to kind of go, we're really angry, but actually things could be okay.
Yeah,
it could be okay. No,
that's brilliant. Well, look, I'm really looking forward to the new album, as I look forward to all of your stuff, which is fantastic.
Thank you very much.
And just a little plug for all things Subtheory. I guess your Bandcamp page is obviously a really, really good one.
Yeah, that's probably the best place, or Instagram, or I would say X, but I don't really go on there very much at the minute. Try to avoid it. But yeah, so probably Instagram is the best place. That's where we kind of, I think is probably the most direct. It's a lot of the times me posting strange buildings and things I see in the street.
Yeah, that will come more apparent, and some beautiful black and white photos and what have you that adorn the single and album covers and what have you. So look, we're really excited to play this, and we thank you, Andy from Subtheory,